In a sprawling penthouse apartment overlooking the city, Jake was lying in bed, scrolling through a trashy web novel on his phone. The CEO wife, back from a year-long business trip, had returned home pregnant. "Jake, I'm so sorry," she'd said. "That night, I took Dylan on the trip. We had some drinks at the conference, and I don't know. It's all a blur. We just ended up in the same bed. I took the morning after pill, I swear, but I never thought." Dylan, the new male assistant his wife, Chloe, had hired right before she left. For a moment, the fictional Jake was floored, frozen on the spot. But for the sake of their years of marriage, he decided to give her one more chance. "Get an abortion. Fire Dylan. And we can pretend this never happened. Can we do that?" "No, absolutely not." Chloe refused, her voice like steel. "I'm several months along. An abortion now could be dangerous. Do you really want something to happen to me? As for Dylan, he's the baby's biological father. I have to at least make sure he has a job. I can't fire him." Just then, Dylan burst into the room and dropped to his knees in front of the fictional Jake. "Mr. Ryan, I swear I'll never overstep again. Please be the bigger man. Give me and the baby a chance to live." Chloe rushed to pull him up, shooting a disappointed glare at her husband. "He's already humbling himself like this. What more do you want?" Seeing the flicker of genuine concern in her eyes for the other man, the fictional Jake fell silent. Silent? Silent my ass. Jake, the real Jake, sat bolt upright in bed, jabbing a finger at his phone screen. "You son of a bitch," he muttered. "This pathetic loser has the nerve to share my name? I only clicked on this garbage because we had the same damn name, and this is the train wreck I get." He shook his head in disgust. "What a piece of crap. Why wouldn't you just deck him? Are you kidding me? You like being played for a fool." Furious, Jake threw his phone onto the mattress. It's embarrassing to have the same name as that guy. But just then, a wave of dizziness washed over him. The world spun, and he collapsed, blacking out completely. When Jake opened his eyes again, he found himself in a hospital room. And then, memories flooded his mind like a tidal wave. Jake's eyes widened. I actually got transported into the story, and I'm the spineless main character. Holy crap. There were only two other people in the private room, Chloe and Dylan. Seeing Jake, Dylan immediately stood up, bowing respectfully. "Mr. Ryan, you're here." "Jake, you made it," Chloe said, getting up. "I'm just going to use the restroom." The moment the bathroom door clicked shut behind her, Dylan's face transformed. He lifted his head, a malicious smirk spreading across his lips. "So, Jake," he whispered, "how does it feel? Raising another man's kid? Wearing that crown of thorns? Pretty sweet, huh? What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Or did the shock finally break your brain?" Dylan sneered. Jake was still processing the torrent of new memories. He hadn't heard a single word Dylan had just said. "Dylan?" Jake asked, a slow, easy smile forming on his face. "What? You don't recognize me now?" Playing dumb, Dylan chuckled coldly. "I'm telling you, it won't work." As he spoke, the sound of the toilet flushing came from the bathroom. Dylan's eyes darted to a cup of steaming hot water on the bedside table. In a low, menacing voice, he said, "You want to fight me? You're way out of your league, kid." With that, Dylan snatched the cup and poured the scalding water directly over the head of the newborn baby in the bassinet. Jake stared, completely stunned. "Dude, that's hardcore. That's your own kid." "Wah! Wah!" The infant's piercing screams tore through the room. Chloe burst out of the bathroom, still fumbling with the button on her pants. "What's wrong, baby?" In that instant, Dylan dropped to the floor with a thud, kneeling before Jake. Tears and snot streamed down his face as he cried. "Mr. Ryan, I know you're angry. I know you're hurting. You can take it all out on me, but the baby is innocent. He was just born. His skin is so delicate. How could he possibly handle boiling water?" "What?" Hearing that Jake had been the one to pour the water, Chloe's face contorted with rage. She strode forward and slapped him hard across the face. "Jake, you've gone too far. Even if you can't stand the sight of this child, you don't have to be so monstrous. No matter what, the baby is blameless. But before Chloe could finish, Jake retaliated. His hand snapped out, the back of it connecting with her pale cheek with a resounding crack. Already weak from childbirth, she stumbled from the force of the blow, her head spinning as she collapsed onto the edge of the hospital bed. Jake spit a little blood onto the floor. "Are you out of your mind, Chloe? Are you really this stupid? Or is it an act? You think I'd take my anger out on a baby?" With that, Jake calmly poured another cup of scalding water. He grabbed a fistful of Dylan's hair, yanking his head back, and poured the entire cup down his face from top to bottom. "Ah! Chloe, help me. It burns." "Ah!" Dylan's agonized screams echoed off the sterile walls. "If I wanted revenge, this is how I'd do it." "Got it." Jake's face was a mask of cold fury. Chloe, Her own lip, now bleeding, turned and pointed a trembling finger at him, her voice filled with disbelief. You hit me?" In response, Jake's hand swung again, slapping the other side of her face. Crack! The impact sent a stinging vibration up his own arm. "Yeah, I hit you. So what?" Jake flexed his wrist. "And I burned him too. What are you going to do about it?" He nudged the man writhing on the floor with his foot. "Say something. What are you going to do to me? Some piece of trash thinks he can walk all over me in my own life. You really think I don't have a temper?" He then turned his gaze back to Chloe. "I'm telling you, Chloe, I'll see you at the courthouse tomorrow." He started for the door, then stopped and turned back. "And another thing, if you try to screw me on the asset division, even by a single penny, your dirty little secret is going public." With that, he walked out of the room. After Jake left, Chloe clutched her swollen face and stared at the empty doorway, her eyes filled with venom. "Jake Ryan, you are so dead." Dylan crawled over, grabbing the hem of her pants. "Chloe, mister, Ryan has gone too far. Burning me is one thing, but to hit you, he's just too much." Chloe knelt, her expression softening with pity as she cradled Dylan's blistered face. "Forget about him. I'll make him pay for this. Let me get a doctor to look at your face." After leaving the hospital, Jake went back to the Mitchell family's sprawling suburban home to pack his things. The second he walked in the door, he saw Chloe's mother sitting on the sofa, arms crossed, her face a thundercloud. "What took you so long? Hurry up and go make me a midnight snack. And give me my hot water with lemon." "What? Are you sulking?" "Let me tell you something, Jake. Even if Chloe came home with someone else's baby, you have no right to be upset. You may not have the official title, but you're a kept man. And a kept man doesn't get to have feelings. Understand, to be blunt, a guy like you isn't half the man Dylan is. He at least gave me a grandchild. I don't blame Chloe one bit for cheating on you. If I were her, I'd do it too. You useless piece of trash." Listening to the old hag's tirade, Jake was about to let loose a string of curses, but then an idea struck him. A sly grin spread across his face. "You're right. I get it. I'll go get your hot water right now." He walked into the kitchen. Watching his retreating back, Chloe's mother shook her head in contempt. "Useless is as useless does. Worthless. Can't even compare to Dylan, who gave me a grandchild." In the kitchen, Jake filled a large ceramic bowl half full with steaming, near-boiling water from the instant hot tap. Then, smiling, he carried the bowl into the living room and stood before his mother-in-law. She had her eyes closed, issuing commands. "Just put it there on the table. You got it." Jake's smile widened, revealing a perfect set of white teeth. He lifted the bowl high, tilted his hands, and a half-gallon of steaming water cascaded directly on her not-so-old face. "Ark!" A scream that could curdle milk echoed through the mansion. "How's that, mother-in-law? Your precious son-in-law got the same treatment a little while ago. Feels great, doesn't it?" Jake asked cheerfully, watching her writhe on the floor. "Call an ambulance. Call 911. It's burning. You bastard." Just then, the door to the study on the second floor landing opened and Chloe's father, a small pair of reading glasses perched on his nose, came out. He'd been reading, but his wife's blood-curdling scream had jolted him. Seeing the scene in the foyer, he flew into a rage and rushed down the stairs. "Jake, you animal! What have you done?" he yelled, kneeling to cradle his wife. "Are you blind? You see what's happening and you still have to ask me? Or are you just so used to ordering me around?" "Insolence!" Chloe's father shot to his feet, raising his hand to slap Jake. The old Jake would have taken that slap, but he was gone. Before his father-in-law's hand could even begin its descent, Jake's own palm had already met the man's fleshy cheek. The force was so great, it sent his glasses flying across the room. "Ack!" The man cried out, then roared. "You waste of space. You dare to hit me. Is asking stupid questions a family trait? You little bastard." The words were barely out of his mouth before Jake's second slap landed. "Crack! Is that how you talk to people? You little crack!" The third slap, then a rapid-fire succession of 4 more. Smack, 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 smack. They landed squarely on the man's face, making his already pudgy features swell up another size. "If I'm a little bastard, what does that make you? A mutt? I guess that fits. Your daughter's a cheating dog, so that makes you MMPHH. Chloe's father's face was now so swollen he couldn't form words. Jake pointed a finger at the man's ruined face. "Let me tell you something, old man. When I loved your daughter, I put up with your crap. But I don't love her anymore. So from now on, when you speak to me, you look at the damn floor. You understand me? Talk to me like that again, and I'll beat you to death." Chloe's father could only nod numbly, terrified of another slap. "Pathetic," Jake sneered, then turned and went upstairs. He left us stunned, broken man in his wake. Up in a master bedroom, Jake threw a few of his own clothes into a duffel bag, then picked up his phone and dialed a number. Come pick me up at the Mitchell house. Don't even mention her name. Are you coming or not? Yeah, good. Hurry up. He had just hung up when a call from Chloe came in. He answered. Her voice was sharp. Jake, you want assets, right? Fine. Come with me to a gala tomorrow night. After it's over, I'll go with you to the courthouse and sign the divorce papers. Who the hell do you think you are? You tell me to go to a gala, and I'm just supposed to show up? Get lost. If you're not at the courthouse tomorrow, you won't see a dime. Jake hung up on her. I seriously can't believe it, he said to the empty room. A guy with this kind of background, and he was willing to be such a doormat? Just letting his wife slap him around? What a total loser. Gotta love these female-centric revenge fantasies, I guess. Jesus. At the hospital, Chloe, sitting by Dylan's bedside, got a call from her father. The second she answered, she heard hysterical sobbing. That monster. He's a demon. He poured boiling water on me. That son of a bitch. Hearing the crying, Chloe was confused. Dad, what's wrong? Chloe, you have to divorce that useless piece of trash, Jake. He's gone crazy. He attacked me and your mother. What? Jake hit you. Chloe thought she must have misheard. But then she reconsidered. After what happened in the hospital, she could believe it. He'd even dared to hit her. Her own face was still swollen. Yes, you need to come to St. Jude's Hospital right away. We're in room 302, her father said. I'm on my way. After hanging up, Dylan, his face wrapped in so much gauze he looked like a mummy, asked, What is it, Chloe? Chloe's face was a mask of hatred. Jake attacked my parents. That bastard. What? How could he? Mister, Ryan's being too cruel. Maybe there's some misunderstanding. Oh, stop it, Dylan. You're too naive. What misunderstanding could there be? He did it with his own hands. Do you think my parents would lie to me? You just rest. I'm gonna go see them. Okay, Chloe. You should go. As soon as she left the room, Dylan's concern vanished. The moment she was in the hallway, Chloe tried to call Jake, only to find he had blocked her number. She was seething. Fine, Jake Ryan. Block me. Just wait. After the gala tomorrow, I will make you pay for everything. Meanwhile, Jake, carrying his duffel bag, walked out of the gated community. A black Bentley was parked by the curb. A young man was leaning against it, arms crossed. Carter DuPont, heir to the New York DuPonts, and Jake's loyal protege. When Carter saw Jake, he immediately jogged over and took the bag from him, a grin on his face. Jake, my man, what's going on? Fight with the missus. Don't talk to me about her, Jake said, waving a hand dismissively. Hey, what are you doing in the city? Carter just smiled. He knew how head over heels Jake was for Chloe, so he figured this was just another lover's quarrel. There's that big investment gala here tonight, so I came to check it out. If it weren't for Chloe, I wouldn't have bothered. The DuPont family's empire was vast, with assets in the trillions, and they were also the single largest shareholder in Chloe's company, Mitchell Corp. Of course, that was all because of Jake. Otherwise, the DuPonts wouldn't have given a company the size of Mitchell Corp a second glance. A gala. Jake raised an eyebrow. Is this the same gala Chloe was just talking about? What is it, Jake? Get in the car, man. Why are you spacing out? Carter waved a hand in front of his face. Jake snapped back to reality. I'm going to that gala tomorrow. All right, man. We'll go together. The next morning, Jake was woken up in his hotel suite by a call from an unknown number. He answered, and it was Chloe's voice. Jake, I've had the divorce agreement drawn up. Since I was the one who cheated, I'll walk away with nothing. You can have all the assets. But first, you have to come with me to the gala tonight. Jake sat up, a cold smile on his face. Walk away with nothing? Who is she kidding? But why is she so desperate for me to go to this gala? What's her game? He raised an eyebrow, feigning excitement. All right, you got a deal. In the hospital room, the moment Chloe hung up, her parents asked, Well, Chloe, how did it go? Chloe sneered. He'll be there. The temptation of getting everything is too great. As soon as he shows his face, I'll destroy his reputation. The whole world will despise him. Her father's eyes held a trace of worry. Chloe, are you sure this will work? Don't worry, Dad. The internet is full of bleeding hearts. All I have to do is play the victim, and they'll support me unconditionally. That's right. Her mother chimed in. Just cry a little, sweetheart, and that online mob will have your back. Chloe scoffed. By the time I'm done, Jake Ryan will be a social pariah, public enemy number one. Honey, make sure you tell Dylan his part. Have him kneel and beg Jake for forgiveness on camera. The internet will eat it up. Don't worry, Mom. I've got it covered. That evening, Jake arrived at the hotel hosting the gala in Carter's car. Before they got out, Jake said, You go in first. Same as always, pretend we don't know each other. Jake, What the hell is really going on with you and Chloe? This doesn't feel like just a fight. You'll see. Chloe's mother was still in the hospital, her burns too severe to be released. Her father, however, had recovered enough for the swelling to go down. As for Chloe, a heavy layer of makeup concealed any trace of her own bruises. The ballroom was lavishly decorated. It was billed as a gala, but in reality, it was Chloe's attempt to secure a new round of funding for her company's upcoming IPO. The only reason so many powerful people showed up was the rumor that Carter DuPont himself would be in attendance. Chloe, dressed in a stunning white evening gown, a glass of champagne in hand, was mingling with various CEOs. Ms. Mitchell, I heard you just had a baby. You never know it. Your figure hasn't changed a bit. It's true, Chloe. What's your secret? You look incredible. Thank you all for the kind words. I don't really do anything special, Chloe said, basking in the praise with feigned modesty. Oh, by the way, Ms. Mitchell, is it true that Carter DuPont is coming tonight? Of course. The DuPonts are a major shareholder in Mitchell Corp. Carter and I are very good friends, Chloe said proudly. Oh, is that so? I had no idea you were friends with Mr. DuPont, one of the CEOs said, raising an eyebrow. Mr. Chun, the DuPonts are in another league entirely. The only reason they'd invest in a company like Mitchell Corp is because of my personal relationship with Carter. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be on their radar, she boasted. Forgive my small-mindedness, Mr. Chun said, taking a sip of his champagne. Please, don't take offense. Because of Jake, Carter had indeed been very respectful to Chloe, which she had misinterpreted as him being impressed with her business acumen. Speak of the devil. Just then, Carter DuPont, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, walked through the entrance. Seeing him, Chloe's face lit up. She glided over to greet him, with Dylan trailing a step behind. Carter, you came. Carter smiled and nodded. You organized this gala, Chloe. Of course I'd be here. This exchange seemed to confirm her claims of their close friendship. And this is? Carter asked, looking at Dylan with a hint of confusion. Let me introduce you. This is my assistant, Dylan Sterling, Chloe said with a smile. Mr. DuPont. A pleasure, Dylan said, extending his hand. Out of politeness, Carter shook it briefly, then said, Chloe, you're a married woman. Isn't having a male assistant a little inappropriate? Oh, please, Carter, she laughed. I'm about to divorce that man of mine anyway. The moment she said it, Carter's heart dropped into his stomach. His expression instantly turned to ice. Oh, a divorce? Does her husband know about this? He's the one who asked for it. We're getting divorced right after this gala. The nerve of him, thinking he can get a piece of my fortune. Isn't that hilarious? Chloe actually laughed out loud. Yes, Mr. DuPont, Dylan chimed in, fanning the flames. Chloe's husband isn't just vicious, he's incredibly petty. It's been a tragedy for her to be with him. Hilarious. Yes, absolutely hilarious. Hilarious beyond belief, Carter said, his voice dripping with icy sarcasm. I think so too, Chloe nodded, then said, Carter, please find your seat. The presentation is about to begin. Carter didn't say another word. He walked straight to the front row and sat down, not sparing Chloe another glance. Soon, the gala began. The large screen on stage lit up with a PowerPoint, starting with the opening remarks. How's it going, honey? Has Jake shown up yet? Chloe's father asked from the audience. Chloe was also confused. This isn't like him. Jake is always punctual. Why wouldn't he be here? Just then, Jake's silhouette appeared in the doorway of the ballroom. Seizing the moment, Chloe quickly whispered to a staff member, Start the stream. Now. Then she picked up a microphone and walked onto the stage. Everyone, if I could have your attention for just a moment. Seeing Chloe interrupt the presentation, the crowd murmured in confusion. What was going on? Then, Chloe began to speak. As you all know, I am a married woman, and the public perception is that my husband and I have a wonderful relationship. I want to clarify something here tonight. I could never, ever be in a loving relationship with such a vicious, disrespectful man. Jake had just walked in when he heard Chloe slandering him on stage. But he wasn't in a hurry. He casually found an empty seat in the back and watched her perform like a clown. He was curious to see what other tricks she had up her sleeve. Just then, 2 large security guards appeared behind him, standing on either side of his chair. Jake knew they were there to watch him. He smiled and shook his head. You really are just as stupid as in the story. On stage, Chloe's voice cracked with emotion, tears welling in her eyes. This man, Jake Ryan, out of pure jealousy, poured hot water on my assistant. My assistant didn't dare fight back. All he could do was kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. And when my parents asked him to do a simple chore, he attacked them. When I said I wanted a divorce, he threatened to take everything from me, to leave me with nothing. Tell me, everyone, What am I supposed to do with a man like that? Chloe's performance did manage to sway a few people, though most were just enjoying the drama. At that moment, the viewer count on our live stream had skyrocketed to over 100,000 people. Whoa, high society drama. Is this CEO's husband rich too? Damn, if he married into her money. This is even juicier. You go, girl. We support you. I'm a lawyer, girl. I'll make sure that dog leaves with nothing. Hang in there, sis. Tell us who he is. We'll dox him right now. Damn. Just as Chloe was hitting the peak of her tear-filled monologue, a slow, deliberate clap echoed from the front of the room. Bravo. Just bravo. I've met a lot of people in my life, but I have never seen someone try to cancel themselves. All eyes turned to the source of the sound, Carter DuPont. Chloe frowned. Carter, what is the meaning of this? I mean, I've never met someone so shameless. You've said so much, but why don't you tell everyone why your husband did these things? You can't just say he's a psychopath. A few others in the crowd chimed in. Yeah, Ms. Mitchell, tell us the reason. You're up there making all these accusations, but it's all just your side of the story. Chloe was flustered. She never expected Carter to interfere. What's wrong, Chloe? Don't want to say. That's a shame, because I happen to have a copy of a paternity test right here. The moment Carter said it, a cold sweat broke out on Chloe's back. Her eyes darted to the staff member running the live stream, and she frantically signaled for them to cut the feed. Carter's meaning was painfully clear. Mr. DuPont, can't you just believe what Ms. Mitchell is saying? That Jake is a violent, petty man. Dylan cried out from the side of the stage. Carter, Chloe stammered, a forced smile on her face. What's gotten into you today? This is our family business. I thought you were optimistic about Mitchell Corp's future. You don't need to get involved in this. Hearing this, some in the audience nodded in agreement. Jake sat in the back, watching the events unfold with a placid calm. He wasn't worried at all. Oh, shut the hell up, Chloe. Carter suddenly roared. You really think you're something special? Without your husband, what are you? You're nothing. He stormed towards the stage, walked right up to Dylan, and started slapping him back and forth. Smack, 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 smack. After 8 solid slaps, he snarled. You think whatever your boss says is gospel. So, if she told you your mother was a whore, you believe it? I'm telling you right now, I paid for her services. You believe that too, right? Answer me. I'm telling you your mom, and I spent a night in a hotel last year. Do you believe me? Dylan was spineless. Terrified by Carter, he stammered, Yes, I believe you. Facing the heir to the DuPont fortune, Dylan didn't have a shred of courage to fight back. Even Chloe was speechless. Smack. Before Dylan could finish, Carter slapped him again. You're the other man. What right do you have to speak to me? Then he turned to Chloe. And you, Chloe, did you really think I invested in your company because of you? What is in that head of yours, Rox? Do you have any idea what your actual capabilities are? If my boss, Jake Ryan, wasn't your husband, do you really think the DuPont family would have ever given you the time of day? Chloe froze. What did Carter just say? My boss, Jake Ryan. She shook her head violently, in disbelief. No, that's absolutely impossible. Carter snatched the microphone from the lectern. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you why Chloe Mitchell's husband slapped her. Carter, don't. Chloe lunged to grab the mic, but before her hand could get close, Carter kicked her away and continued. It's because this bitch had a baby with her assistant behind her husband's back. I'm asking every man in this room, who among you could stop yourselves from slapping her? Could you? Carter pointed at Mr. Chun, the CEO who had been praising her earlier. The man quickly shook his head. How about you? He pointed to another. The man looked embarrassed, then said with conviction, If it were me, I'd hit her too. Carter turned back to Chloe. For you, Jake cut ties with his family, and you rewarded him by cheating on him. Chloe Mitchell, you're something else. With that, Carter waved a hand dismissively. Effective immediately, the DuPont Group is pulling all funding from Mitchell Corp. And if anyone here decides to help them, I will consider it a declaration of war against me. And one more thing. I hear someone has been using my name to run scams and build their reputation. I hope none of you were fooled. Carter shot one last glare at Chloe, dropped the mic on the stage, and walked back towards his seat, stopping right next to Jake. Feel better, boss? Seeing this, Chloe's eyes went wide. Carter called Jake boss, then Jake's identity. Her heart began to pound in her chest. Everyone else in the room was just as stunned. Some recognized him as Chloe's husband, but none knew he was Carter DuPont's superior. In a state of shock, Chloe whispered to herself, That's right, we're not divorced yet. She tried to stand, but the pain from the kick was too intense. She could only cry out, Jake, honey, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have had a baby with someone else. Please, just give me one more chance. Regret washed over her. If she had known Jake had this kind of background, she never would have kept the child. But now Jake just let out a cold laugh. I assume you won't be signing the agreement anymore, he said calmly. In that case, we'll see each other in court. I'll accept whatever the judge decides. No, please, honey, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Chloe scrambled off the stage, crawling on the floor, but she couldn't catch up to Jake's retreating figure. Ms. Mitchell, don't bother. He's already gone, Dylan said, slinking out from behind the stage now that the danger had passed. Get away from me. Chloe glared at him, her eyes red-rimmed and full of hate. It's all your fault. It's all your fault that Jake is divorcing me. Chloe knew that even with the affair, she would still get at least 30% of the assets in a divorce. But what good was that now? The DuPonts had pulled their funding and issued a kill order on her company. Mitchell Corp was finished. Jake obviously didn't need the money. He didn't care how the assets were divided. With Carter gone, the guests began to file out of the ballroom. No one wanted to be an enemy of the DuPonts, let alone the even more powerful Jake Ryan. Now you're blaming me, Chloe? Don't make me laugh, Dylan sneered. You were the one who thought I was handsome. You were the one who begged me to go to that hotel with you. And now it's my fault? I'm the bastard? Then what does that make you? If you were such a good person, would you have had my kid? That's hilarious. Dylan started humming a little tune as he walked out of the ballroom. Anyway, I managed to get over $20 million from you. I can live like a king anywhere. Why would I stick around with you? Oh, honey, Chloe's father said, finally coming over to help her up. How did it turn out like this? Chloe wiped her lip with the back of her hand, her expression venomous. Dylan Sterling, you just wait. Meanwhile, the moment Dylan stepped out of the hotel, he was intercepted by 2 police officers. Can I help you? They flashed their badges. Mr. Dylan Sterling? As Ms. Mitchell committed adultery during her marriage, Mr. Ryan has filed a civil suit regarding the funds she spent on you. The law requires you to return all money and gifts received. Your bank account containing $24,523,456.83 has been legally frozen. You are also required to repay an additional $4,566,737.57 in valued goods. Please come with us to assist in our investigation. What? No? Weichi. Before Dylan could finish, the 2 officers were escorting him to their car. For the next 2 weeks, with the DuPont's withdrawal of funding, Mitchell Corp was on the verge of collapse. Chloe begged everyone she knew for help, but no one was willing to cross the DuPonts. Misfortune never comes alone. One day, Chloe received a summons at her office, the court date for her divorce from Jake. Dylan had been released. Not only had they taken all his money, but the condo she had bought him was also seized. All the luxury goods, the cars, everything of value was gone. He didn't have $500 to his name. He was forced to move into a dingy rental apartment. Early one morning, Jake and Chloe arrived at the courthouse. Chloe's face was pale. Jake, is there really no going back? Cut the crap, Jake said without looking at her. Let's go. We were married for years. Doesn't that mean anything to you? Chloe screamed, her voice cracking with desperation. You don't love me. You just know that without me, your life is over. Jake gave her one last look and walked into the courthouse. In the courtroom, Chloe's lawyer fought tooth and nail to get her a larger share of the assets. But Jake's lawyer was a shark. He presented piece after piece of evidence, systematically shutting down every argument until the other side was left speechless. In the end, the court awarded Chloe 30% of the marital assets. Jake got 70%. Chloe knew it was over. The Mitchell family was finished. She sat at the defendant's table, tears of regret streaming down her face. Finally, she numbly walked out of the courthouse and got into a beat-up compact car she was renting for $500 a month. Once inside, she called Dylan. Are you free? There's something I want to talk to you about. You bitch, all my money is gone, and you still have the nerve to call me? Dylan's angry voice exploded from the phone. Chloe's tone was flat, dead. Don't be like that. I have good news for you. I won the lawsuit. Jake is leaving with nothing, and he has to pay me $1 million in damages. What? You won? For real? Dylan's voice was filled with disbelief. Come down and we'll talk. I'm going to give you the $1 million. I just need you to take care of the baby for me. I have to go out of town for a while. The baby? Dylan's eyes lit up. Okay. Yeah, okay. Come pick me up. I'll be waiting for you at the entrance to my complex. Money is money, he thought. Who'll give a crap about the kid? As long as he doesn't starve. Once I get the cash, I'll buy a big bag of dog food. A few kibbles a day should keep him alive. Chloe, oblivious to Dylan's thoughts, hung up and, following the GPS, turned the car around and headed for his apartment. When she arrived, Dylan was already waiting impatiently by the side of the road. He jumped in the car and immediately held out his hand. Where's the money? He had been broke for days. He couldn't even afford to buy himself a KFC bucket. Looking at him, Chloe's face filled with disgust. She regretted it all. Why had she ever kept the child? Her thing with Dylan was just supposed to be a bit of fun. But regret was useless now. Everything was over. The only thing she could do now was take the architect of her ruin down to hell with her. Her face was a coal mask. What's the rush? I'm taking you to get it. She started the car. Where are we going to get it? You're not lying to me, are you? Dylan asked. Chloe let out a chilling laugh. I love you so much. Why would I ever lie to you? Okay, good. Dylan leaned back in his seat, a smug look on his face. This idiot still loves me? In that case, after I get the money, maybe I'll take her to a hotel. He was still lost in his pleasant daydream. On a wide stretch of highway, Jake sat in the back of a Rolls-Royce, looking at a stock transfer agreement in his hands. Sell the Mitchell Corp shares, he said to his driver. They're probably not worth much anymore, but it should still be a few dozen million. Split it between yourself and the guys. The driver's face lit up. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan, are we heading home? Or, before the driver could finish, a black shadow suddenly flew past Jake's window. It was followed by a massive, grinding crash up ahead. Huh, what was that? Jake asked, startled. The driver squinted. Mr. Ryan, looks like there's been an accident up ahead. A car hit a tree. A strange feeling washed over Jake. Pull over. He got out of the car. A white sedan was wrapped around a massive oak tree. Blood trickled from the mangled chassis onto the pavement, staining the asphalt. He stared at the wreckage and shook his head with a sigh of pity.